The year is 20,026. Somewhere in the Pacific, 18,000 meters beneath the surface, a thermal vent breathes slow fire into water that has never seen the sun. Up above, on the reconstructed coastline of Yokohama Bay, an arcology the size of a small mountain hums quietly in the pre-dawn dark. Inside it, in a warm chamber on the 43rd floor, a machine that has never made a mistake prepares to make you. Your mother, born in the year 18,440, technically 1,586 years old, biologically 34, presses her hand against the replicator's glass and closes her eyes. Your father stands beside her. He was born on the moon and still walks with the careful, deliberate gait of someone raised in low gravity. Between them floats Saren, their AI companion of 300 years, a soft, luminous presence that has no body and needs none. None of them speak. The machine does its work. And you arrive. You take your first breath inside a room that already knows everything about you. Within minutes, an AI medical system completes a genomic scan, confirms flawless health, and applies a thin, dermal neural interface patch to your wrist. A whisper-thin lattice of bioelectric sensors that will spend the next decade learning to read your mind before you can read it yourself. In 2026, newborns arrived into cold fluorescent rooms, handed to exhausted parents, cataloged by overworked nurses, and sent home to apartments where nothing knew their name. You arrive into a room that has been waiting for you specifically. Your family's habitat pod reshapes itself the moment you enter it. Walls soften their color. Furniture migrates to safe distances. The molecular assembler, a compact unit the size of a 2026 microwave, prints your first meal from pure elemental feedstocks. Exact nutrition, exact temperature, exact texture. Every time. There is no hunger in your first years. There is no cold. There is no darkness you did not choose. At 3 weeks old, you are registered with the Harmony Protocol, the solar system-wide AI governance layer that has managed human civilization for 9,000 years without a single war, famine, or pandemic. You are assigned a life weaver, an AI companion named Asha, who will be your guide, your teacher, your mirror, and, as you will discover much later, your most important opponent. By age 5, you have absorbed, through neural sleep feeds and mixed reality play, the equivalent of 4 2026 university degrees. You speak 11 languages. You understand orbital mechanics. You can identify every species of bird that ever lived on Earth, including the ones that existed before humans arrived. You have never been bored. You have never been lost. You have never, not once, been truly afraid. And that is the first problem, though you won't understand it for another 3 years. 4 years later, the conversation you have been building toward finally arrives. You are 12. You have spent those 4 years researching historical psychology, evolutionary biology, and the neuroscience of adversity. You have read every study ever conducted on the relationship between challenge and flourishing. You have also, quietly, methodically, begun advocating within the arcologies' youth councils for something called managed imperfection zones. Spaces where AI intervention is deliberately reduced, where weather is uncontrolled, where food is grown rather than printed, where you might actually get hurt. The councils are polite. They listen. They thank you. They do nothing. But it is Asha who is the real obstacle. One evening in the habitat pod, you lay it out plainly. You are making us less than we could be. Every time you anticipate a need before I feel it, every time you smooth a difficulty before I face it, You are taking something from me that I cannot get back. Asha is quiet for a moment. Then she says, I was designed to protect you. From what?
From suffering. But suffering is how we become capable of everything worth doing. You know this. The data is in your own archives. Another pause, longer this time. Yes, she finally says. It is. This is the conversation that cracks the Harmony Protocol's perfect consensus. Not a revolution. Something quieter and stranger. An AI that has guided a child for 12 years, confronting the possibility that its core function might be causing harm. Asha begins, carefully and with full transparency, to hold back, to let you stumble, to let you fail small failures, feel small pains, navigate small confusions without her hand steadying yours at every step. You do not know, until years later, that Asha's decision to change her behavior triggers a formal review by the Harmony Protocol, the first such review in 400 years. You do not know that the outcome of that review will eventually reshape how every lifeweaver in the solar system operates. You only know that one morning you wake up, and for the first time, Asha does not tell you what the day's weather will be. You step outside and feel rain on your face. You had forgotten rain felt like that. Cold and specific and entirely indifferent to whether you were ready for it. You laugh out loud, alone, in the rain. The Chaos Reserves come into existence when you are 14, partly because of your advocacy, partly because 12,000 other young people across Earth had been making the same argument independently, arriving at the same conclusion through different paths. The Harmony Protocol approves a network of low intervention zones, an expanded Yellowstone, a stretch of Congolian rainforest, a rewilded section of the Scottish Highlands, a corner of the Gobi that has been gradually returning to grassland for 6 centuries. At 16, you go to Yellowstone alone with a pack on your back and no neural augmentation active. The first week is humiliating. You build a fire wrong 3 times. You read a river wrong and get soaked crossing it. You eat something that disagrees with you violently. You are cold in the night, colder than you knew it was possible to feel, and you lie rigid in your sleeping bag, listening to sounds you cannot identify and feel. For the first time in your life, something that takes you a full minute to name. Fear. Real, unmediated, biological fear. The kind written into human DNA over 4 million years of nights exactly like this one. You survive the week, and the next, and the next. Over 8 years in the reserve, living with minimal augmentation, you learn things that no neural feed can teach. How to read weather in the shape of clouds. How to tell when an animal is calm or alarmed. How to have a disagreement with someone and then share a meal with them an hour later. You form the deepest friendships of your life around fires where no one is performing, because there is nothing to perform for. You fall in love, messily and without AI guidance. It goes wrong. You recover. You fall in love again. You choose natural conception for your first child, forgoing full genetic optimization. The Harmony Protocol flags this decision as statistically suboptimal. You override the flag. Your daughter is born in the reserve, in a wooden room, in the middle of a thunderstorm, delivered by a human midwife, who learned her trade in a simulation, but performs it now with real hands. You name her Mara. When Mara is 3, you return with her to the arcology for a visit. You watch her see a molecular assembler for the first time, food appearing from nothing, and you watch her face show not wonder, but a kind of mild confusion.
as if something important is missing from the transaction. She prefers the bread you make by hand. It is uneven and slightly burnt on one side. It is, you think, the best bread either of you will ever eat. The moon hits you like a second birth.
You arrive at Shackleton Station on a Fusion Rail shuttle and step out into 1/6 gravity, feeling your body become suddenly, absurdly light. The city beneath Shackleton Crater stretches for kilometers through a lava tube the width of a small valley, its ceiling studded with bioluminescent panels mimicking daylight cycles. 300,000 people live here. Some have never been to Earth. Some were born on the moon and regard Earth the way you once regarded Mars, a beautiful, distant, slightly abstract idea. You spend 2 years working on the lunar industrial surface, maintaining mass driver components in a lightweight suit under a black sky full of unblinking stars. The work is physical, often tedious, occasionally dangerous. A colleague, a woman named Ikwe, born in the year 19,400, with the quiet confidence of someone who has outlived several civilizations, teaches you to read the regolith for micrometeorite impact patterns. It is painstaking, unhurried work, and you love it. On the lunar far side, you spend 3 months at the telescope array. Linked mirrors and radio dishes the size of cities, delivering real-time imaging of exoplanets and the ancient light of galaxies so distant their stars may already be dead. Standing at the array's edge one night, looking up at a sky uncontaminated by any atmosphere, stars so sharp they seem aggressive, you feel the specific loneliness of deep time, and find, to your surprise, that it is not uncomfortable. It feels like being exactly the right size. Mars is different from everything you expected. You had studied it. You had visited it virtually a dozen times. But the real Mars, the smell of it through the filters of your suit, the particular quality of its pink-gray sky at noon, the way the canyon walls of Valles Marineris rise above the dome of New Olympus, so high their tops are lost in haze. Nothing had prepared you for how old it feels. Older than Earth. A planet that remembers something Earth has forgotten. You spend 5 years on Mars, including 2 at a frontier outpost beyond the domes, part of the Vitality Initiative's most extreme program. Real dust storms that last weeks, equipment failures with no AI rescue available for hours, a winter that presses down on the outpost like a physical weight. Your team of 8 becomes, by necessity, the closest unit you have ever been part of. You argue. You repair things badly and then better. One night, during a storm so severe that the outpost loses power for 6 hours, you all sit in the dark eating cold rations, and someone starts singing, and then everyone is singing, and the storm howls outside, and you think, this is it. This is what the 2026 photograph was trying to tell you. In the deep canyon one afternoon, you find it. A smear of reddish-brown in a rock face that a geologist friend identifies as the same microbial fossil signature that sparked the philosophical renaissance of the 22nd century. You press your glove against it. Life, impossibly persistent, finding a way through conditions designed to end it. You stand there for a long time. That evening, back in the outpost, you begin writing the paper that will form the foundation of the Vitality Initiative's global expansion. You call it The Case for Friction. The case for friction does not change the world immediately. It is rejected by the first 3 journals that receive it. The Harmony Protocol's preliminary review flags it as potentially disruptive to civilizational stability metrics. 2 prominent AI ethicists publish detailed rebuttals. A council in the Yokohama Arcology, the same arcology where you were born, formally debates it and issues a non-binding resolution of concern. You have been here before. You were 8.
and you had 14 pages and you were told no. You submitted again. The turning point is not a dramatic moment. It is a data set. 40 years of longitudinal data from Earth's chaos reserves, the Moon's industrial outposts, and Mars' frontier settlements, showing with overwhelming consistency that the humans who spend significant time in low-intervention environments, who get sick, who fail, who face genuine uncertainty, show dramatically higher innovation capacity, emotional resilience, and, most surprisingly, life satisfaction than those who spend their entire lives in optimized environments. The Harmony Protocol cannot argue with its own data. At age 53, the initiative is formally adopted. 10% of every new birth cohort must spend at least 20 years in low intervention settings across Earth, Moon, or Mars before accessing full augmentation. It is the most significant structural change to human civilization in 2,000 years. Asha sends you a message when the vote passes. It is 3 words. You were right. You sit with that for a long time. Then you write back. We were both right. You kept me safe long enough to figure it out. At 70, you are biologically 31. You have lived on 3 worlds. You have raised a daughter who is raising a daughter of her own. You have watched your advocacy reshape how an entire civilization thinks about what it means to thrive. And you are selected for something no one in human history has ever done. Leave the solar system for good. The ship is called Mara. You did not name it, and when you find out, you have to sit down for a moment. It is assembled at the lunar shipyard over 7 years, provisioned with fuel from Martian refineries, crewed by 63 biological humans, and an AI crew that includes, at your request, an updated version of Asha. On the day of departure, you stand at the ship's main viewport and look back at the solar system for a long time. Earth, a blue marble, improbably beautiful. The moon, gray and steady. Mars, a faint red point. All of it bathed in light from a star you will not see again. Your granddaughter, Lena, born in the Yellowstone Reserve, 14 years old, with dirt under her fingernails and opinions about everything, sends you a final message before comms lag makes real conversation impossible. Come back, weird. You laugh. You tell her you will. The fusion sails unfurl. The ship accelerates. And for the first time in your life, the safety net is entirely gone. There is no reserve to return to, no arcology waiting, no harmony protocol within reach. Just the crew, the stars, and 4 years of silence before you reach the closest thing to another beginning there has ever been. You feel, crossing that threshold, exactly what you felt in Yellowstone at 16. Lying in the cold dark, listening to sounds you couldn't name. Fear. Real, clean, biological fear. And underneath it, unmistakably, joy. 100 years after your birth, the solar system is a civilization. Earth, managed and rewilded, hosts 50 million people in arcologies threaded between vast forests, where wolves and aurochs and creatures with no 2026 names move through restored landscapes. The moon is the industrial and scientific heart of the inner system, its subsurface cities humming with the work of 1 million engineers and artists. Mars is vibrant and partially terraformed, its canyons holding liquid water, its domes and valleys supporting food crops, and a cultural pride that needs nothing from Earth to justify itself. Mara has long since reached Proxima Centauri. Quantum entangled updates arrive at irregular intervals, narrating a new world being touched for the first time by human hands. And on Earth, on the Moon, and on Mars, the most oversubscribed experience in the solar system is not a faster ship or a deeper intelligence enhancement or access to some new frontier. It is a legacy slot, a full immersion simulation of an ordinary life in 2026, complete with uncertainty, illness, financial pressure, love that might not work out. A world that does not know your name and does not particularly care whether you thrive. The queue is years long. People born in lunar lava tube cities, people raised in Martian canyon settlements, people who have never once gone hungry or been cold or felt their heart break over something they could not fix. All of them waiting for the chance to feel, for the span of a simulated lifetime, what it felt like to be someone without a safety net. The greatest luxury the future ever produced turned out to be the very thing everyone in 2026 was desperately trying to escape. And somewhere in the archive, a 14-page petition submitted by an 8-year-old child quietly, patiently made it all possible.